Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about it. Where are you right now? I'm not asking about the chair you're sitting in or the room you're in. I'm asking about your life. I'm asking about your heart, your habits, your thoughts. Where are you in relation to your potential? Are you where you thought you'd be? Or are you standing still in the same spot you were a year ago, 2 years ago? Now, I'm not here to make you feel bad about that. What I want to do today is make you aware of something that's happening in your life right now. It's something that's very easy to ignore, very easy to overlook because it feels comfortable. But here's the truth, that comfort is the very thing that's holding you back. I'm talking about the comfort zone. It's a place where most people spend their entire lives thinking they're safe, thinking they're okay. But what you don't realize is that the longer you stay in this zone, the more it becomes your cage. You see, the comfort zone is a lie. It tricks you into thinking that where you are right now is good enough. It tells you, don't push too hard, don't reach too far, just stay where it's safe, where it's familiar. And here's the kicker. The more you listen to it, the more it kills your chances of success. Now, I know you're not the kind of person who wants to play it small. You want more from life. You want to grow, to achieve, to make a difference. But you can't do that if you're locked into the habits, the thoughts, the routines that have kept you where you are. It's time to face the uncomfortable truth. The comfort zone is killing your success. But here's the good news. Today, we're going to talk about how to break free from it. I'm going to show you why you've stayed here for so long, and more importantly, how you can leave this comfort zone behind. The path to success, the real path to greatness, lies just outside this zone where discomfort meets growth, where fear meets courage, where uncertainty gives birth to opportunity. And when you step out of that comfort zone, when you move beyond what feels safe, that's when you'll finally begin to live the life you've always dreamed of. So I want you to stick with me today, because this isn't just a lecture. This is a wake-up call. This is your chance to finally step into the life you were meant to live. And it all begins with understanding the trap of the comfort zone. Now, let's take a closer look at this comfort zone. What is it really? We all think we know, but how many of us really understand the danger it poses to our lives? The comfort zone is that invisible boundary we create for ourselves, a mental space where we feel safe and secure. It's a place where we know the rules, where we know what's coming next. And let me tell you this, familiarity feels like safety, but in reality, it's just a trap. The comfort zone doesn't care about your future. It doesn't care about your growth. It only cares about keeping you the same. And that's where the danger lies. The longer you stay within its borders, the less you grow, the more you stop challenging yourself. You start thinking you're okay, but the truth is you're not getting any better. Now, think about this for a moment. When was the last time you made a significant change in your life, something that truly pushed you? I'm talking about the kind of change that made your heart race, that forced you to stretch beyond what you thought was possible. If it's been a while, then you've probably been living inside your comfort zone without even realizing it. You've gotten so used to it that it feels like home. But here's what you need to understand. This is not your home. This is just where you're living right now, temporarily, but it's not where you're meant to stay. The comfort zone whispers to you, it's okay, stay where it's easy, stay where you don't have to work too hard. You've got everything under control here. But let me tell you, there's a bigger voice inside you, a voice that's been calling you for a long time. That voice wants to break free. It wants to live a life of adventure, of risk, of growth. And that voice has to become louder than the whispers of comfort. But here's the catch. Growth happens outside the comfort zone. It doesn't happen in a safe, predictable place. It happens when you decide to step into the unknown, when you decide to take on challenges that make you feel uncomfortable, maybe even a little afraid. But fear is not your enemy. Fear is a signal. It's telling you that you're doing something that matters, something that's pushing you toward the person you were meant to become. The comfort zone is comfortable because it's familiar, but the longer you stay there, the more you begin to trade your potential for a false sense of security. You start telling yourself that you're fine just the way you are, but deep down, you know there's more for you. You feel it. That's why you're here listening to this today. You're ready to leave that zone behind, And I'm going to show you how. So understand this. The comfort zone isn't some safe space. It's a prison, and the only key to get out is to realize that you can choose to move beyond it. You can choose to step into the unknown, to embrace discomfort, and in doing so, you'll discover who you really are and what you're truly capable of. Now that you understand what the comfort zone is, it's time to talk about the hidden costs of staying in it. And I use the word costs very deliberately because the price you pay for staying in your comfort zone is not immediately obvious. It's not a price you see on the surface, but over time, it adds up slowly, quietly, and it drains the life out of your dreams. Let me start with this: stagnation. When you stay within your comfort zone, you stop growing. And let me be very clear here. If you're not growing, you're dying. There's no middle ground. Success does not come to those who are content with where they are. The world doesn't wait for you to catch up. The world rewards those who move, those who challenge themselves, and those who decide to step out of the familiar and into the unknown. And if you're stuck waiting for the right time or hoping things will change on their own, you're letting precious time slip through your fingers. The problem with the comfort zone is that it's a place of false security. It convinces you that you're fine. I'm okay. I'm safe. But safe doesn't get you far in life. Nothing remarkable happens in safety. What's more dangerous than failure? Not trying at all. That's what happens when you stay within the comfort zone. You may avoid failure, but you also avoid success, growth, and opportunity. Now, let me tell you about something that's even more dangerous than stagnation: regret. You see, over time, as you stay in your comfort zone, you build up a mountain of regret. You start looking back at the chances you didn't take, the risks you didn't pursue, the dreams you didn't chase. And the hardest thing to live with isn't failure. It's knowing you didn't even try. I've seen it time and time again. People who are nearing the end of their lives, looking back and realizing they didn't live fully, and they regret the things they didn't do, not the mistakes they made. Why? Because every mistake holds the potential for growth, for learning, for wisdom. But a life never fully lived holds nothing but emptiness. Now let's talk about something that's even more insidious than stagnation or regret: the loss of confidence. When you stay in your comfort zone for too long, you begin to shrink. You stop believing in your ability to handle challenges. You convince yourself that you're not capable, that you don't have the strength or the will to go beyond what's familiar. I can't do it. It's too hard. It's too risky. But the truth is, the longer you stay in your comfort zone, the smaller your world becomes. You start avoiding anything that might push you, anything that challenges you. And with each step back into comfort, your confidence erodes bit by bit. You start telling yourself that you're not cut out for success, that you don't have what it takes. And before long, you've convinced yourself that your comfort zone is the best you can ever do. And let's not forget the cost to your relationships. If you're stuck in your comfort zone, chances are you're not growing or evolving in the way you need to. And when you're not growing, your relationships can't grow either. Whether it's with your partner, your friends, or your colleagues, stagnation in your personal development will eventually begin to show up in your interactions. Here's the thing: growth is not a solo endeavor. When you start to evolve, you attract people who are growing too. You start building relationships with people who inspire you, challenge you, and elevate you. But when you stay in your comfort zone, you start surrounding yourself with people who are stuck too, and that creates a cycle that only reinforces your comfort, that keeps you from expanding. Finally, we have to talk about missed opportunities. The longer you stay in the comfort zone, the fewer opportunities you'll have to step into your future. Opportunities don't come to those who wait. They come to those who act, who move, who decide that the risk is worth the reward. Staying comfortable might feel good for a while, but eventually, the world will move on without you. You've heard the saying before: opportunity knocks but once. I'd like to tell you it knocks often, but you've got to be ready to open the door. And if you stay in the comfort zone, you'll miss it. So, what's the price of staying in the comfort zone? It's everything. Your growth, your confidence, your potential, your relationships, and your future. The cost is hidden, yes, but it's real. And once you see it, once you understand it, you'll realize that the cost of staying comfortable is far greater than the price of stepping out. Now, you may be asking yourself, if the comfort zone is so dangerous, why do so many people stay there? Why do I stay there? It's a good question, and the answer is simple: fear. Fear is the number one reason people stay stuck in their comfort zone. And it's not the kind of fear that's always loud and obvious. No, it's the quiet, sneaky kind of fear that whispers to you in the back of your mind, telling you things like, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if it doesn't work out? But here's the truth. Fear is a liar. Fear tells you that the unknown is more dangerous than staying where you are, but that's a lie. The truth is, the unknown is just the beginning of your potential. What's more dangerous than fear is staying where you are, trapped in your comfort zone, never realizing what you could have been. Now, let's break it down a bit further. Fear doesn't just hold us back, it creates excuses. And we love excuses, don't we? We say things like, I don't have enough time, or it's not the right moment, or I'm not qualified enough yet. And these excuses are all grounded in fear. Fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of what others will think of you. We all want to be accepted. We all want to feel secure. But the truth is, growth requires us to risk rejection. Growth requires us to embrace discomfort. And the more we wait for the perfect moment, the more we put off stepping out of our comfort zone, the further we get from the life we truly want. But fear isn't the only thing that holds us back. Comfort is addictive. It has this way of sneaking up on you and making you think that where you are is enough. It makes you feel good in the moment, but over time, it slowly drains your energy, your enthusiasm, your drive to achieve. And before you know it, you've been sitting in the same place for months, years, even decades, convincing yourself that this is just how life is. I've had conversations with people who tell me, I've tried before, Jim. I've tried to push myself out of my comfort zone, but it's just too hard. It's too much effort. And I understand that. But let me tell you something that I've learned in my own life. It's never easy, but it's always worth it. Every single time you break through the barrier of comfort, you unlock something more in yourself. But you have to get past the initial resistance, the discomfort, the fear of failure, the self-doubt. Here's another reason people stay in their comfort zone. They don't believe they have what it takes to succeed. You see, a lot of people spend their lives negotiating with fear. They keep telling themselves, I'll wait until I feel more confident. I'll wait until I have all the answers. And let me tell you, you'll never feel fully confident. You'll never have all the answers. The confidence and the knowledge come after you take the leap, after you make the decision to step outside. Confidence is built on experience. And experience comes only when you're willing to fail, to learn, and to keep going. I've heard it time and time again. People wait for the perfect time. Jim, when the kids are older, when I have more money, when I get a promotion, when I get a little more free time, then I'll do it. But let me tell you, there is no perfect time. The perfect time to step out of your comfort zone is right now, today. It doesn't matter if you feel ready. What matters is that you start. And here's another thing that keeps people stuck. The fear of success. Now, I know that sounds strange. How can fear of success hold someone back? But listen closely. Some people fear success because they believe they don't deserve it, or because they don't want the responsibility that comes with it. Success means change, and change means uncertainty, and that's uncomfortable. But here's the truth. Success is not the enemy. Success is your birthright, and you owe it to yourself to step into it, to claim it, and to let it guide you to the next level of your life. So, why do people stay in their comfort zones? Fear, excuses, addiction to comfort, lack of belief in their potential, and the fear of change. And every single one of those reasons is built on one thing. The lie that staying where you are is safer than stepping out. But as you'll come to see, the real danger is in staying the same, in letting life pass you by because you're too afraid to take the leap. Now that we understand why most people stay in their comfort zones, let's talk about the power of discomfort. I know that might sound counterintuitive to some of you, but hear me out. Discomfort is not the enemy, it's the key to your success. Let me say that again. Discomfort is the key. Because every single time you push yourself beyond what feels easy, beyond what feels comfortable, you unlock a new level of growth, a new level of achievement. When I talk about discomfort, I'm not talking about doing something reckless or dangerous. I'm talking about pushing through the internal resistance, the fear, the self-doubt, the hesitation that all of us feel when we try something new. And here's the thing, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. Growth happens when you challenge yourself, when you do things that scare you, when you make decisions that push you out of that bubble of safety you've been living in. Growth happens when you say to yourself, I don't know exactly how this will turn out, but I'm going to do it anyway. And let me tell you something, the more you step into that discomfort, the easier it gets. I'll be the first to admit, when I started this journey, when I started speaking, when I started building my own business, when I started changing my life, I was uncomfortable. There were days when I felt like I didn't belong, like I didn't know enough, like I wasn't ready. But here's what I discovered. The discomfort was a signal that I was on the right path. It was a sign that I was doing something that mattered. And the more I embraced it, the more I realized that discomfort wasn't something to fear, it was something to embrace. You see, discomfort is where the magic happens. Nothing extraordinary happens in your comfort zone. You can stay in your safe little bubble and nothing will change. But when you decide to break through that barrier, when you decide to do the things that challenge you, whether it's taking on a new responsibility, having a tough conversation, or learning a new skill, that's when your life changes. And it's in those moments of discomfort that you begin to see the real power you have within you. I want you to think about the last time you accomplished something that you're proud of. Was it easy? No. It took work. It took effort. It took pushing yourself beyond what you thought you were capable of. But once you did it, you felt a sense of pride, a sense of growth, didn't you? That's what happens when you move through discomfort. You expand. You grow. You realize that you are capable of so much more than you gave yourself credit for. Here's what I want you to remember. Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your ally. When you feel discomfort, that's when you know you're growing. It's when you're stretching yourself, when you're learning something new. You see, the more you grow, the more discomfort becomes a familiar friend. At first it feels like fear, but over time, you begin to realize that discomfort is a sign that you're on the edge of something amazing. And listen, I get it. Change is hard. The unknown is scary. We all have moments when we hesitate. But here's the truth. You can't wait for the fear to go away. It never will. It's always going to be there. But what you can do is learn to act in spite of the fear, to make decisions in spite of the discomfort. And when you do that, you build the muscle of resilience. You become stronger. You become more confident. And most importantly, you start to see that the life you've always dreamed of is on the other side of that discomfort. Now, I'm not saying it's always going to be easy. There are going to be days when you want to quit, when you want to run back to that safe place. But I'm here to tell you, the life you want is not in that safety. The life you want is in the discomfort, in the uncertainty, in the unknown. The more you face it, the more you embrace it, the more you'll realize that it's the very thing that's going to take you to the next level. So today I challenge you, lean into discomfort. When you feel that fear creeping in, when you feel that resistance, don't run from it. Move toward it. Take action in the face of it. Because every time you do, you'll break free from the chains of your comfort zone and you'll start moving toward the person you were always meant to be. Now that we've discussed the power of discomfort, it's time to talk about risk. I know this word can make some of you uneasy, but let me tell you something. Success is built on risk. You cannot achieve greatness without taking risks. It's that simple. And yet most people are afraid of risk. They avoid it like the plague because they associate risk with failure, uncertainty, and loss. But here's the truth. Risk is not the enemy. The real enemy is playing it safe, staying in that comfortable, predictable place where nothing changes. Because, let me tell you something, if you're not risking anything, you're not growing. Now, I'm not talking about reckless, thoughtless risk. I'm talking about calculated risk. I'm talking about the kind of risk where you evaluate the situation, where you do your homework, where you take action with purpose and intent. You see, risk doesn't have to be about throwing caution to the wind. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone, making a decision that moves you toward your goals, even when you don't know exactly how things will turn out. And here's the kicker. The biggest risk of all is not taking risks. You see, the greatest danger you face in life is not the unknown. It's staying exactly where you are, stuck in the same patterns, the same routines, and expecting different results. That is the definition of insanity. Risk is the thing that pushes you forward. It forces you to make choices, to take action, to get outside of your own limitations. And yes, sometimes it doesn't work out the way you expect. Sometimes you fail. But let me tell you something. Failure is not the end. Failure is the beginning of learning, of growing, and of becoming better. Let me ask you something. How many times have you passed on an opportunity because it was risky? Maybe it was a new job. Maybe it was starting a business. Maybe it was a relationship or a personal goal. You saw the risk and you hesitated. You held back. And now you look back and wonder, what if I had taken that chance? Well, here's the thing. You can still take the chance. It's never too late to step out, to take that leap, to take that risk and change your life. I've met people who've built entire businesses, who've achieved massive success simply because they were willing to take risks. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't know everything. But they knew one thing. They weren't going to sit around waiting for life to hand them an easy path. They got out there and made things happen. Risk is part of the process. And if you're not willing to risk, you're not willing to succeed. But here's the important part. Calculated risks are always smarter than reckless ones. If you want to succeed, you have to assess the risks you're taking. You have to ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? What can I learn from this? And what's the potential payoff? When you take risks like this, you don't just open yourself to success, you open yourself to valuable lessons that will help you grow. I'll tell you something from personal experience. Some of my biggest failures came because I didn't take enough risks. I played it safe. I hesitated. And while I don't regret my past, I can tell you this. The moments I took a risk, those are the moments that changed my life. The moments when I felt the fear, but I pushed through it anyway, those are the moments that defined who I am today. And here's the best part. The more risks you take, the easier it gets. The fear starts to diminish. The uncertainty starts to feel less daunting. You get used to it. You build a resilience. And you start to see that life is not about avoiding risk. It's about learning how to manage it and make it work for you. And the more you take risks, the more you'll realize that the rewards far outweigh the fear. So let me ask you today, what risk will you take? What is that one thing that you've been putting off that you know deep down you need to do but haven't because it scares you? Well, today's the day. The biggest risk you can take is to not take one at all. So step into the unknown, take that leap, and trust yourself to handle whatever comes next. Because on the other side of that risk is the life you've always dreamed of. Now that we've talked about the importance of stepping out of the comfort zone, the power of discomfort, and the role risk plays in success, it's time to get practical. Because here's the thing. Knowledge without action is useless. You can understand all the reasons why you need to leave your comfort zone. But unless you take consistent action, nothing will change. So let's talk about some practical ways to start stepping outside your comfort zone. These are simple, actionable steps that anyone can take, no matter where they are in their journey. And here's the key. It's not about making huge leaps overnight. It's about taking small, intentional steps every single day to stretch yourself just a little further than yesterday. 1. Start with small, manageable challenges. You don't have to climb Mount Everest tomorrow. Start small. Pick one area of your life where you know you've been playing it safe. It could be at work, in your relationships, or in your personal goals. For example, if you're someone who avoids difficult conversations, today, have that conversation. If you're someone who hesitates to take risks in your career, today, ask for that promotion or take on that new responsibility. The key is to do something every day that challenges you, something that gets you out of your comfort zone, even if it's just a little bit. Let me tell you something. Small wins add up. The more you do this, the more you build confidence in yourself. You start to prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort. And when that happens, you start seeking bigger challenges. It's all about momentum. 2, change your environment. Sometimes the first step to breaking free from your comfort zone is as simple as changing your environment. Your environment plays a huge role in shaping your habits and your mindset. If you're always around the same people, in the same place, doing the same things, it's easy to get stuck in a routine that keeps you comfortable. If you want to change, You have to change your surroundings. Whether it's finding a new place to work, joining a new group of people, or even simply rearranging your workspace, change sparks growth. A new environment shakes things up and forces you to adapt. It challenges you to learn and grow in ways you couldn't before. 3. Set a big, scary goal. Now, I want to challenge you with something. Set a goal that scares you. I'm not talking about a goal that you can achieve with minimal effort. Something that feels safe. I want you to set a goal that pushes you outside of your comfort zone, something that makes you uncomfortable just thinking about it. It could be running a marathon when you've never run more than a mile. It could be starting a business when you have no idea where to begin. It could be speaking in front of an audience when the thought of public speaking terrifies you. Here's the thing. A big, scary goal is a magnet for growth. When you set a goal that pushes you to your limits, you'll find that you start to stretch yourself in ways you never thought possible. You'll have to learn new skills, develop new habits, and face your fears head on. And when you achieve that goal, the sense of accomplishment will be immeasurable. 4. Embrace failure as part of the process. One of the biggest reasons people stay in their comfort zone is the fear of failure. But let me be clear, failure is not the end, it's the beginning of learning. Every successful person has failed many times before they succeeded. You will fail. I will fail. But the key is to fail forward. Every failure is an opportunity to learn. Every mistake is a lesson that teaches you something you didn't know before. So don't avoid failure. Embrace it. The more you fail, the stronger and more resilient you'll become. And when you start to embrace failure as part of the process, you'll realize that it's not something to fear, it's something to celebrate. 5. Take risks in your daily life. I'm not talking about jumping off cliffs or doing something crazy. I'm talking about small risks that make you uncomfortable. For instance, say yes to things you would normally turn down. Try a new workout, explore a new hobby, or take on a project at work that's outside of your usual scope. Here's the thing, risk doesn't have to be huge to be impactful. It's the small everyday risks that accumulate over time and create massive change. When you take risks consistently, you start to build the muscle of courage. You start to develop a mindset that welcomes uncertainty because you know deep down that it's where the magic happens. 6. Surround yourself with people who challenge you. Now, this is critical. Your environment is not just about physical surroundings, it's about the people you spend your time with. If you're always around people who encourage your comfort zone, who tell you that it's okay to play it safe, then you'll never break free. But if you surround yourself with people who push you, challenge you, and hold you accountable, you'll find that stepping outside your comfort zone becomes easier. Find a mentor, find a friend, find a community of people who want more from life, just like you, because growth happens in community. People who challenge you to be better are some of the best investments you can make in your life. All right, now we're getting to the critical part. It's one thing to step out of your comfort zone once or twice, but how do you stay committed to this process of breaking free? How do you ensure that you don't fall back into the easy, familiar patterns that keep you stuck? Well, let me tell you something. Commitment is the secret sauce. The truth is, anyone can take one big step out of their comfort zone. But the real power comes when you make a commitment to yourself to stay on this path of growth, no matter what. First and foremost, commitment requires clarity. You need to be crystal clear on why you're doing this. Why are you stepping out of your comfort zone? What is the end goal? What do you want to achieve? If you don't have a strong reason for why you're doing something, it's easy to give up when things get tough. But if you have a compelling reason, something that pulls you forward, nothing can stop you. So before you even begin, take a moment and ask yourself, why am I doing this? What's the vision for my life? Write it down. Put it in front of you every day. Remind yourself constantly of why it's worth it to step into discomfort and take risks. Because when the going gets tough, and trust me, it will, you'll need that reason to keep you going. The second thing that will keep you committed is small daily actions. Commitment is not about grand gestures or big dramatic changes. It's about the little things you do every single day. It's the small decisions, the daily habits, the consistency of showing up and taking action. If you're truly committed to breaking free from your comfort zone, you need to make sure that you're doing something every day, no matter how small that challenges you. It might be making that phone call you've been putting off. It might be speaking up in a meeting. It might be learning something new that stretches your abilities. The key is consistency. And let me tell you, consistency is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Small steps every day lead to big results. And the best part is, every time you take that small step, you build more confidence in yourself. Every single win, no matter how small, compounds over time. You begin to see progress, and that progress becomes fuel for the next step and the next and the next. The third way to stay committed is by holding yourself accountable. When you step out of your comfort zone, it's easy to let yourself slip back into old habits, especially when no one is watching. But here's the thing, you are always watching. You are the one who holds the key to your success. And if you don't hold yourself accountable, no one else will. One powerful tool for accountability is to track your progress. Keep a journal, make a checklist, or set up a simple tracking system. Write down what you're doing each day, and be honest with yourself. Tracking your progress keeps you on track and gives you a real sense of how far you've come. But you don't have to do it alone. Find someone who will hold you accountable, whether it's a mentor, a friend, or a coach. Someone who will challenge you to stay the course, who will call you out when you're slacking, and who will celebrate your victories with you. Accountability partners are crucial because they help you stay on track when things get tough, and they remind you of your potential when you forget it. And here's another key point. Embrace the journey, not just the destination. Often we get so caught up in the idea of the final goal that we forget to appreciate the process. But the process, the daily grind, the small wins, the discomfort is where the magic happens. If you only focus on the end result, you'll miss out on all the growth that happens along the way. Enjoy the journey of becoming. Celebrate the discomfort because it means you're growing. Celebrate the risk because it means you're stretching yourself. And most of all, celebrate the consistency because it's the small, everyday actions that will bring you the results you're looking for. Finally, remember this. Success is not a one-time event. It's a habit. It's a lifestyle. And you can't break free from your comfort zone just once. You have to keep doing it every day, every week, every month. It's a lifelong commitment to growth. And that's the kind of commitment that will take you from where you are now to where you want to be. So now that we've covered the discomfort, the risks, and the daily actions required to step out of your comfort zone, here's what I want you to remember. This journey, your journey, doesn't have to be perfect. What matters is that you keep moving forward. You'll stumble, you'll fall, you'll have moments of doubt, but keep going anyway. That's the key. Success isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up every time you do. As we finish up today, I want to leave you with this thought. You are capable of far more than you realize. The person you've been waiting for, the person you've been hoping will show up and do all the things you've been dreaming of is you. You already have what it takes to break free from your comfort zone, to take those risks, to face your fears head on. But you have to decide. You have to make that commitment. And let me tell you something. Once you make that decision, nothing will stop you. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is the decision to act. There's no magic trick. There's no secret formula. There's only you and the action you're willing to take. If you're willing to step outside the comfort zone, if you're willing to embrace discomfort, if you're willing to take risks, you will see your life transform. You will be the person who doesn't just talk about success, you'll be the one who achieves it. And I want you to leave today knowing this. You are not behind. You're not too late. You are exactly where you need to be. The next step you take is the one that changes everything. Step out of your comfort zone, make the decision, take the risk, and keep going, even when it gets hard. Because you have a life to live, and it's waiting for you. Thank you for your time today. I believe in you. And I can't wait to see the amazing things you'll accomplish when you step outside your comfort zone and become the person you were always meant to be.